Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Oscar Cisneros with another episode of How to Fix Your Car. So today we're working on a 14 Chevrolet Captiva. Customer's complaint is that, so before I get started, if you guys don't know who I am, I'm a mobile mechanic out here in San Diego County. I used to work there for about almost 5 years, and I got a lot of experience. I got a lot of certifications, and I specialize in AC and electrical. Now, I wanted to test my skills, test the market out, see if I was really as valuable as I thought I was, so I decided to open up my own business. So while I was at the dealership, bought myself a Ford F350, and I got it with the lift gate. Wanted to make sure that I can get my tools in and out when I was working at the dealership, and just a little stuff. It's a little dirty right now, but I got some bulk oil, got my toolboxes, compressors, got a generator, you need electricity, and I got a cabinet with a lot of cool shit. But anyways, that's what I do. So today we're actually at the Hyatt here in Mission Valley. So I got the full use of the parking lot today. Pretty badass. So anyways, we're working on a 2014 Chevy Captiva. Customer's concern is that his radiator is leaking coolant, and he said that he had somebody look at it, but we're gonna double check. First thing that we noticed was there's spots on the ground, and upon further, you can see the orange coolant dripping down right there. There's also another puddle back there, but the customer was running the AC, so I suspect that it might have been that. So how do you verify that your radiator is leaking or any part of your coolant system is leaking? Obviously a good visual inspection will help. So if you look down in here, sometimes you can see orange blobs, orange, crust up in the area. I don't really see anything that is noteworthy, but so what you do in a situation like this, you can go down to your local parts store, or you can buy this. I use the Snap-on SVTS 272. It is a coolant pressure tester. So what you do is you find the right adapter, you screw it onto the top of the coolant degas bottle, and then you have this little plunger here, and you set the amount of pressure that you want. Usually you want to go to the cap and figure out what's the rating. This one says 15 psi, so I usually go about 5 over, because if something's leaking, I want it to leak, and clearly we got a leak. So let's do that right now. So now I got it pressurized up to about 21 psi. That's kind of hard to see, but about 21 psi. So the system, the cooling system's under extreme pressure right now. So you just like to take a look down in here, see if you can find where the constant drip is coming from, and just confirm that what you're going to be replacing is indeed what needs to be replaced. You got to check everything. You got to check the water pump, thermostat housing, upper and lower radiator hoses. You got to check heater core lines. Last thing you want to do is replace something that didn't need to be replaced, and the customer's trying to figure out why'd you charge them $500-600 to replace something that didn't need replacing. So coolant, see it. I know it's kind of hard to tell, but I can actually hear a hissing sound. Coming from the radiator. I don't see the drip yet, though. That's what I'm looking for here. Let's find out if I can find it. So as you can see, got a constant drip now. And on visual, see it right there. See, the bottom of the radiator looks all jacked up. So we have a confirmed radiator leak. It's not leaking anywhere else. So we're gonna go ahead and get this guy removed, put a new one in, and call it a day. First step you want to do with this job is you want to get the car lifted up. Make sure you lift it up safely. There's a support right in the center right here, metal frame. Lift up from there, jack stands. And on these ones we got a 19 millimeter. By the way, don't buy the snap-on 1/2 inch. This thing's got no balls no more. I recommend the Milwaukee one. I'm probably gonna buy it as soon as this one takes a crap. I've already rebuilt this one once. It only lasted me about a year. Then I had to rebuild it. That doesn't work. So you go ahead and you remove both tires. I already took these ones off. And then what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be taking this wheel well out. It's held in by some push retainers. You're gonna need one of those fork or a trim panel removal tool to access that. And actually not this, I'm sorry. This guy right here. Because the front bumper has to come out. You're gonna see how easy it is for the front bumper to come out. It's just, typically it's like 1, 2, 3 screws, and there's a retaining bolt here. And then you got the bolts that are on the bottom of the valance. So right there, you got one, and you got the other one right down over there. And then there's some electrical connectors, and the thing comes out. You're gonna remove this piece here. So I'll probably start with this one. With these, they use these little scrivets. They're kind of weird to use. You just want to remove them with a screwdriver, or if you got a badass screwdriver gun like I have here. This one I recommend from Snap-on. I love this thing, man. This thing has been my money maker over the years. It's cool, especially when you're working on interior, because you need precision. You don't want to be impacting the shit out of a door panel, and then you got to buy the customer a door panel because you didn't use the right tool for the job. So just kind of get it on there, and then real slowly kind of walk it out. Real slowly walk it out. Real slowly walk it out. Sometimes it's kind of hard to do it, but okay, this one doesn't want to come out. Somebody already fucked these up. Should come out just like that. Just like that. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. See, somebody fucked these up, man. Got one right there. Got another one right here. See, there's another one. Sometimes you can hold the outside base. Doesn't seem to be the case. We'll work on it. Take all those scrivets out. Just lifts up. Just like that. Set it to the side. Now, there are, see how the bumpers, the front bumpers are starting to kind of come loose. Just want to make sure that there's nothing attaching it. So here you got a screw or scrivet, and then looks like everywhere else is going to be okay, and the sides are going to be over here, or the side screws. You have a scrivet here, scrivet up here, and you have an 8mm here, 8mm here, and you have 8mm here, and up in here. You got to take all those out, and then this becomes loose enough. In theory, make sure I don't forget nothing here. Looks like I forgot one right here. And it comes right out. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get this piece right here exposed. Piece right up in here. Kind of hard to tell, but let me see if I can get a better shot. You just want to fold it back and position it behind the rotor. You don't want to take the whole thing out, just kind of position it, fold it. You're going to be a little rough with it. So I want to say that there's 7mm right there, right in here. That's got to come out, and then this bumper should. So once you take that 7mm bolt that's right here, bumper just comes right out. At least you're getting it loose on this side. You still have the ones that are on the bottom. Let's see if we can get those right now. So when I work mobile, I hate working on the ground. I hate it. It's one of the only things that I wish I had a shop. Hopefully we'll get a shop one of these days. But in the meantime, I have this. If you could use cardboard or like this. You can use cardboard or old piece of carpet. I had a customer actually give me this big roll of carpet, and it works great. It's laid out. You don't get as dirty. And you also protect the floor too. That way you don't get in trouble when you start making a mess all over the property. And cardboard's great. If you could get some cardboard, get some. So it looks like down here you got a variation. Looks like we got some 7s. And possibly, let me see here. Possibly some 10s. Sorry for the bad camera. So there's a 10 right there. There's a couple 7s right there. 7s. I'm gonna start with the 7s, see what happens. So yeah, there's a couple 10 millimeters here. They gotta come out. You'll probably see this panel underneath holding it in. And there's a 10 right there. 10 over here. And then the 10 over here. This comes out and it kind of separates. So now you have a lot more separation here. You do the same thing on the other side as well. Take the wheel well out, position it to the side, and then there's that 7 millimeter right in there, right here where my thumb is at. Okay, and then this thing's ready to come out. Keep in mind you have a harness attached to it, so bring it out slowly. Make sure you have somewhere safe to put the bumper. You don't want to scratch it. That's why I also have the carpet here. I'm gonna just roll it up in the front, or you could use a moving pad, cardboard, and then we'll go from there. Here it is. We got the bumper removed. Got to set over there. So once you do that, there's one harness right here that attaches the connections to the front bumper. There's going to be a little lock to keep the connector. You got to push that out with your little pocket screwdriver. Then you can press down, pull the connector out, set it to the side. Now what we have to do is we have to remove this front bumper here, or this brace, so we can get access to the radiator and the condenser. They're going to flip it forward, and then out it comes this way. Thing I forgot to mention, while you're doing all this, remove the radiator drain petcock. It's right there. So it kind of looks like this. So it's just kind of screwed in there. You just unscrew it counterclockwise, and then just have a suitable container to catch all the fluid, and then that way you can have that ready to go. So upon further inspection, once I had the bottom removed, you can see the radiator. Sorry guys about the camera. You can see the radiator sagging right here. And if you look, you can see that it's actually been damaged. So it's a good call on this car to get this guy replaced. Let's get going. So now we're gonna remove this front brace here. So we're probably gonna need, looks like maybe a 10, 11? Yeah, 13, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we're gonna get a 13 mil, get this front removed, and show you how to do that right now. So we're gonna remove this, I don't know if it's a power steering cooler or trans cooler. Should be a couple 10s. Get those out of the way, don't lose them. Got that removed. Keep note of the size of the bolts. This one was towards the bottom. The other different sizes, and this one's like that. Okay. Now this is loose. We got a couple tabs connectors there. So again, you get your trim tool. Get in there. Sometimes these won't come out pretty, so don't be surprised if they break. But kind of work them out. Sometimes I give them a little couple taps. Give me a sec. Next, we're also going to remove this guy right here. Get your trim tool. Pop it out. Make sure you got nothing else in the way. We don't. So we got another 10 millimeter up here. Another 10 millimeter up here. Okay. Set those to the side. I'll put them, try to put them in their respective areas so that I know where they go. Okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and grab our 13s. But see, I was wrong. It was a 12. 12 for this operation. Okay. Remove one. Set it to the side. Another one. Set it to the side. Now this thing might want to fall down on you. I'm gonna have to put it down. 2 cameras, but you get the gist of it, and then we'll go from there. Oh, and there's also another connector right down in here. That's for the ambient temp sensor. Don't break it. So you can see here, there's these little fingers here. You could just push those fingers together. Use a pocket screwdriver and just kind of push it out of its cavity. So I got all these 4 removed. Still don't want to come out. There's another 4 right in here. These are also 12s as well. You're gonna need a little extension, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what it looks like once you got the 4 bolts removed. That little frame's got a little dowel pin that lines up right here. As I was removing it, it was catching up here. So this little panel here, there's a scrivet that also has to be removed. So you got one right here too, guys. So make sure you remove that. So then you kind of just with that, after you do that, you just kind of slide this tubing assembly, make sure you don't damage it. And then now you can focus on removing this bracket up here. Okay, and then we're going to take these 2 radiator bolts, and then I can position the radiator forward. Now I haven't removed the hoses yet. I'm going to do that right now. Before I did the hoses, I just removed these 2 bolts for the centerpiece here, and then I just kind of position it out of the way. If you put it over here in this area, make sure that you do not make contact with this positive battery. Cover it with a rag or disconnect it so that you don't have any issues. Okay, I'm going to cover it up with the rag. I'm not taking any chances of frying anything when you short something to ground. So once we do that, now we're going to go ahead and set these bolts to the side. I'm going to go ahead and just remove those real fast. I want to say these, and if you don't want to lose these, I'd like to just kind of put them back in the same spot. That way you don't have any issues. Last thing you want to do is start mixing bolts up. So then I'm going to go ahead and grab our, I want to say it's a 13 millimeter. Put that on our gun. This little snap-on gun, when I first bought it, this thing was powerful, man. I used to be able to take lug nuts off with this little gun. Not what it's designed to do, but it's cool knowing that it can do it, you know. So you set that right there, set that right there, and then these little brackets, they just lift right up. Just gotta wiggle them up, come right up, come right up. So now, see the radiator's loose? That's what we want. So now, the reason it's not coming back yet is because at the bottom, the radiator is being held in here. So I'm going to rotate it. So we got to lift up, and then we'll have more clearance to bring it out. But before I do that, I'm going to remove the hoses. On this one, we have a upper radiator hose over here, and then we have the other one on that side right there. Now what I like to use, Snap-on has them, everything's Snap-on, right? But I think I've seen these at O'Reilly's and AutoZone. They're like 30 bucks. Buy them. Don't fuck around. Just buy them. So I would call them, I don't know what the exact name for them is, but they're like remote pliers. And the way they work is pretty damn simple. It's a very genius design. It'll save you a lot of headaches. So here, and at this end here, you can see the little teeth that are designed for grabbing clamps. So now as I squeeze, it comes down, and it actually ratchets and locks in place. So as it locks in place, it kind of gives you the ability to use 2 hands to be able to work that hose off without having to deal with this stupid clamp. Let me show you how it does it. It might be tricky with one hand, but I'll see if I can show you. Looks like we kind of got it on there. Let me just adjust it real fast. So once you got the clamp on, you squeeze, and now it locks it in place. Usually these are kind of like sealed on here. As you can see, I broke the clamp loose already. I'm just gonna walk the clamp off, or you can try to remove it with the hose. So I'll do that now. So I went ahead and removed the lower radiator clamp, similar to what we did the front. Just pinch that, pull it out. Be careful, or be prepared to capture fluid. Now, what do we got left? We got to disconnect the cooling fan and the condenser from the radiator. So the condenser's got 10 here, 10 here, and then it kind of lifts up off the radiator, okay? Because this is mounted onto the radiator, so this has to come out. I also noticed that going into the radiator, we have transmission cooler lines. So they have these random little clips that you're gonna have to remove. So we're gonna need to also remove those. Same thing on this side. I want to say there's a 10 here that's holding it. Yeah, that's a 10 right there. And then there should be another 10 here. Now, yeah, so these come out, and then the condenser should come right out and get out of your way. This guy, you're just gonna have to kind of work around him. Now the fan has a 10mm bolt here, 10mm bolt here, right underneath that, and then it should just separate. The room's a little tight in here, so I might actually have to remove the air cleaner and see if I can get some room to wiggle my hand in there. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now. So we got to remove the air cleaner. So right around the base of the throttle body, there's a clamp, 8mm, and then there's another 8mm here at the air box. Separate that, pull this out. Be careful, don't break this, and then the box just comes right out. Gives you a lot more room to get access to the 10mm that's right there, the other 10mm that's there, and it gets you an opportunity to reposition the harness, and if needed, to remove the cooling fan. I'm not going to remove it completely, I'm just going to set it in here, but I'm going to set, or again, remove the 10. Now again, Snap-on makes these really badass 1/4" flex head swivel sockets. They're the best that I've ever seen. Gear Wrench makes them, but they're too long. These are perfect, man. If you pair it with a ratchet, you're savage, bro. You can do anything you want. So now make sure you don't drop your bolt. I'm gonna probably drop it right now, at least to hit the ground. So don't ever ignore them. If you drop it, pick it up, because then you're gonna forget about it, and then you're gonna be in a world of hurt. So we're gonna set that right there. And I'm gonna remove the other side. It's gonna be kind of hard to show you with the camera, but just know that I am doing my duty. And look at that. Bam. Set that over here. Now my ass just dropped one of my most expensive sockets down inside of here, and I can see it. So make sure you have a little magnet. Snap-on. Now I'm not promoting Snap-on in any way. I know they don't endorse me, but I just like their tools. When I was at the dealership, I used to buy a lot of them. I don't buy them anymore though. Ever since I stopped buying tools from the Snap-on guy, my income has gone way up. So I recommend that if you don't have to buy tools from the Snap-on guy, don't do it. But if you want to support local, do it. Sometimes you need to buy some good tools. Now down in here, I'm just going to show you that little tab right here. Let me kind of show you, but right there, you have to push that out that way, and then you can lift up on the fan bracket. So can't do that with one hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. All right, so look where I'm at now. It's pretty intense. Now I think if I had to do this job over again, I would have evacuated the air conditioning system. It would make it a lot easier to be able to just bring the condenser with the radiator out together. You don't have to. It's just something that I noticed that would probably make the job easier. Once I was able to do that, I was able to separate the fan. Again, just pull up on those brackets like I was telling you. And then the last thing we got to do is we have these transmission lines that come in. Now there's this tool, like a quick disconnect tool, that you can snap in here, and then it pushes the spring out so you can pull the line out. They're a pain in the ass, man. So what I do is I get a pick tool and I remove them, and then the lines just come right out. Now be very careful. Those springs, they fly fucking oblivion, man. And then once they're lost, they're lost. You can't find them. So I like to make sure that the radiator that I'm going to be installing has some. So if I lose them, I'm not too worried about it. So I just like to check it out real quick. Just because you want to be 100% positive here. So as I'm looking at the radiator, you can see how the spring clamps look like. See them right there? So they're right in here. They kind of push in. There's about 2 of them, or 3. So that little spring is what holds that line in place. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just pop off the other ones. I don't care if I lose them because I know that the new one already has them. But if you're doing a repair where you might have to reuse them, be very careful. Try to use the spring lock tool. I'm not going to use it because I'm trying to save some time here, and I know that I have new ones already on the radiator. So let's do this. So what I do is I like to use a pick tool wherever I have it. Okay, I have a pick tool right here, and you just kind of figure out what's the best way to pop it out. So sometimes you just have to kind of finagle it. Sometimes it's good to look at the new one and see what the best way to pop them out is. So you can see right there. So I know the camera's like sucking right now. So you can see right here is where you would. There's like these little legs right here, and that's where you want to get in, so you can slide it out. So you get the idea. I'm going to do this. We'll get right back to it. You have it. That's what those clips look like. I was able to just remove them. Just get on the bottom side of it and then just work them out. And then the lines should come right out. Keep in mind there's probably going to be fluid coming out of here. I got the lines kind of cocked at an angle because the radiator's at an angle. So I'm going to have to lift up on the radiator on this side, get it level, and then pull the lines out. So there you have it. I was able to work the radiator out. We got it over here. Come take a look at it. Looks like he hit something, but look at the way the whole bottom's just blown out. The catalytic converter as well on the bottom looks like it took a pretty big impact. Yeah, this is bad. This is why the guy's radiator's leaking. So pretty much now the reverse is what we're gonna have to do to get the new one back in. And then we also have to transfer over these little grommets or bushings here. They went right in here. Pull those out and just look over the radiator, make sure that there's something, or there might be something that needs to be transferred over. Sometimes you don't, but you just want to double check everything. Last thing you want to do is have everything hooked up and then have to take it apart because you forgot to put some panel in. Now, kind of recap, if I had to do this job over again, because I have the equipment to do it, I would have evacuated the air conditioning, because I didn't really realize that, and the service manual didn't really indicate that. I didn't do it this time, but in the future I will. It'll save me a tremendous amount of time having to work around this condenser here, and it just makes the job a lot easier and smoother. So just keep that in mind. So now we're just going to reverse the process and go from there. Yo, so we got everything put back together on this car. We went ahead and reversed pretty much the procedure that we did, or we outlined during the first couple of steps. Everything went in pretty smooth. Make sure you get all your connections hooked up, especially the one right by the bumper. Aside from that, just top off your coolant, refill it, burp it, and road test it. And just make sure it's not overheating anymore. Make sure that you're not having any type of coolant leak. And then you're ready to deliver the customer. So we're on the road test right now. Everything is checking out fantastic. So we got it fixed. This car's fixed, ready to go. And we're going to give it back to the customer in about a couple minutes. So stay tuned, stay greasy, and keep on wrenching.